How many are ready?
Whenever you are.
Okay. So, how many of you guys have best friends? Okay, so how many of you guys have more than one best friend? Okay. So, for me, I have few best friends. But depending on who you are, you may categorize your friends differently. So maybe you have a friend that you know that you could take to a scary movie, or you have a friend that you'll go to sports events with, and you don't want to mix them up because that may end your friendship. But you also may view your friends as someone who's there to encourage you, someone who's there to support you. For me, I view my friends as definitely someone that's very understanding, someone that's very supportive, and the greatest one is someone that you share common interests with. So I'm going to explain why having friends is very important, but I'm also going to explain the three main aspects I believe why having friends is very important, and which were understanding, supportive, and having common interests. So first off, with understanding, I think that when you have a friend that's very understanding, it makes you feel more comfortable with one another. And I have a friend, I met her when I was 3 years old, and she actually lives in Ohio, and I don't get to see her as much as I wish I could. And she calls me about twice a week. I try to call her back, but sometimes I'm just too busy and I can't call her back for a couple of days. But when I do call her, I know that she's very understanding and she's not going to give me crap about not calling her back immediately. And it just makes our conversations more easygoing. And she actually came out to visit me for spring break, which was great seeing her because I hadn't seen her in 2 years, and we just pick up right where we left off just because we can understand each other. So for support, support's always great. For if you have a speech like today, if you have a friend in the class, then that support, that just makes you feel more comfortable unless you get nervous if you're doing a speech in front of your friend. But I love support. I have different friends that support me in different things. So I have friends that are in water polo that support me, of course, in water polo. But I also have friends that aren't in water polo that come out and watch me, and they support me in that way. And that just boosts my confidence. And I swear I play better when I have my friends there at the games because I'm over there trying to show off. But it just makes everything feel more calm and you feel comfortable. And when you have someone that's coming out and supporting you, then you want to return the favor and go and support them. And I believe that brings more respect into your relationship with that person. And when you have respect, then you know that friendship's true and it has a better chance of lasting. So another one is a common interest, which is very important. You're not going to see people going somewhere that, at least like at golf and stuff, you're not going to see someone that hates it and someone that doesn't unless someone's dragged on a date or something. But people tend to have the same kind of likes, which is what brings them together in the first place. I have friends that have different kind of common interests, so I know to do certain activities with part of my friends, and the other half I'll do other activities with them. But I have another really good friend. Her name's Jen. She actually goes to UC Davis, so I don't see her that much. But when she comes down, we just immediately start talking about water polo because I played water polo with her in high school. This movie that I brought to show you guys, Pitch Perfect, amazing movie. We can sit for hours and just start saying quotes from movies, and that's what we'll do. Like, if we're going somewhere and it's boring, like party or something, and it's awkward and it's quiet, and you have your friend there, then and you guys will just start saying quotes, and it just makes everything so much better. she has a friend that doesn't like me too much, but it's funny when you go up to your friend and you're who you are with them and they understand you, and then the other person's just looking at you like you're crazy, which gets you mad. You're like, okay, obviously that person's not going to become one of my friends because they don't understand how I am. But it just makes everything great. So I have a quote. It's, "Don't walk behind me, it may not lead. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Just walk beside me and be my friend." And that's from Albert Camus. And I love this quote. It has more than one meaning to it, and I agree with all the meanings. So don't walk behind me. You don't want to be thinking of yourself as superior to your friends, so you'll want to be next to them. You don't want to be behind your friends because you're not going to want them to judge you or be in front of you. You want them to be next to you and be your friend and be equal and just enjoy the time together with one another, which is why I totally agree with this quote. So that's why I think friendship is very important, is because it just, overall, it helps you in daily life, and their support is just great for your confidence. Their understanding, if they've gone through something that maybe you're going through now, then they're there to give you advice to help you go through that situation. And having common interests just gives you more opportunities to do more stuff with each other, because you know in the future you'll do more stuff together, and you'll just have a great time with one another. Thank you.
All right. Saree, I thought that the audience survey as your attention device is a little weak. I think I would have started with the story that you talked about, having different friends for different kinds of activities, and maybe mention the friend that you go see the movies with and the one that you go golfing with. I know it's not golfing, but whatever it is, something different. Tell a story about those kinds of things. Otherwise, it's the audience survey thing seems like it's a last minute, I haven't planned this, I'm just going to make the audience come up with the attention device here.
I was all excited about the attention guy, like, yeah, it's good.
Like I said, it always gives me the impression that I'm not going to be responsible for it. Somebody else is going to be responsible for it. And for a limited preparation, an impromptu speech that you didn't know that you were going to do, that might be fine. But you've had, a couple of weeks, you knew you were going to do a prepared speech. You can find something interesting to talk about. You've got a good example. There's a story here. There's one of those incidents with your friends that would have been really good. You could have talked about being at that party, for instance, where everything was boring and you turned to the other person and you used one of the quotes from some movie and suddenly they laughed and everybody kind of looked at you and nobody knew what was going on, but the two of you knew what was going on. And that, something that makes it a little bit more intriguing and involving. The general subject, you keep it pretty light, and that's okay. It's clear what you're talking about. I did think it was strange that we got the preview before we got the purpose statement, and then we got the preview again. So the purpose statement is kind of sandwiched between two versions of the preview. That's a little bit awkward. The preview was very clear, so I like that. And you've got interesting stories for the most part. I think you could always use a little bit of detail on those stories. That would help give it a little bit more oomph. You've got only one or two general quotes about friendship, and I think that there's probably more research that you could do to give it more substance. Now, on the presentation things, most of what you're doing I think is pretty good. You have some nice gestures while you're speaking, some descriptive gestures that go along with the indicators. Your facial expression, you look animated and engaged with the audience, so I think that works really well. Your eye contact, I'll tell you what, you look up most of the time, but it really does seem to me like the center of the room gets all of your attention. The people on the right, I don't know if you ever looked over at them. People over here on the left, you got a couple of glances there. I don't know if it's like you've got three friends right in the center and they're the ones that you were looking at the whole time, but it just, from where I'm sitting, if I'd been over there or over here, I'd have thought, well, how come they're so good looking and the rest of us are something else?
Man, I felt like I did good on it because last time I think I just.
You did good. Like I said, you did look up. But I think it just needs to be distributed a little bit more. It wasn't bad. If I gave the impression that it's bad, please don't say that, because I said you did a good job. You looked up, but it did seem to me that it's all focused in the center here. Well, it's one of those things. If you distribute it a little bit more, that's better. It's not like you were looking down the whole time you were speaking.
I'll stand up there cross-eyed.
Yeah, you can do that. I'll look at everybody at the same time. That's a little bit awkward.
Speech.
And I thought with your voice you did a very nice job. There's a lot of animation in your voice. You use a lot of pitch. You do change the volume at times to draw attention to particular things. It moved fairly smoothly. There was maybe one or two odd hesitations, but that just seemed kind of natural. The only thing about anxiety that I would say was indicated is, it's pretty subtle, and it's not something that you have to. I don't think it's anything that you have to worry too much about, but you want to be aware of it. I swear, every time I start talking, there's an echo in the room.
Your eardrum blown out. No, it's not an echo.
No, it's not really an echo. Apparently, it's just other people talking. So apparently, they're using the cover of my voice to discuss things. That's okay. It is a little distracting to me. As you can see, I've been distracted 3 times by it.
You said my.
Yeah, the one thing that's a little. You shift your weight on your feet pretty regularly. If you do it, well, it wasn't the hip pointing thing, but I could tell that you're changing the weight on your foot, and it's a lot. It happens frequently. If it happens occasionally, and for instance you tie it into one of those movements where you're moving forward to something, nobody's going to notice it. But that's the only thing to me that seemed at all potentially problematic. All right, thank you.